Hello, everyone. I am Matt Williamson, and we have ourselves a playoff game on the horizon. This will be the last time you hear from me until post-game. I assume, as usual, as soon as the game ends or in between before the night game, sometime on Sunday, I will be in my basement as I am now, chatting with you guys, give you a quick recap, hopefully a win, but we'll see. Give you my prediction here at the end of this one. Couple things. So, no real stats today, just some keys I wanted to talk about on both sides of the ball. And I want to start with navigating the environment. Now, that of course means the weather, but there's more than that. Like, even if this was a beautiful 60-degree sunny day in Buffalo in January, I don't know, those things don't happen. Bills Mafia is coming, man. They're jumping through tables. It's going to be loud. It's going to be insane. I also think that there is an expectation here that in some ways the Steelers are playing with house money. You know, like expectations aren't unbelievably high. And I want to stop myself for a second because I will tell you that in 14, because there's and two teams on bye, buildings across the country right now, those teams don't care about necessarily expectations like I talked about. They certainly don't care about their record before today. I mean, they are only concerned with the opponent, one game. And, you know, it's not like, boy, we had a bad year or we had three quarterbacks or what, you know, they don't look at it like us or like media do. They look at it like I have to do everything I possibly can as a player and as a teammate to win this football game. Maybe I'm not the type of guy that is here, first one in the building, last one to leave, but this week I am, you know, so the expectation things I almost hesitate to bring up, but I did want to mention it more from a Bills perspective is you guys aren't as tuned into the Bills as you are the Steelers, but their window's kind of closing. I mean, this is going to be what, their fifth straight playoff appearance, fourth straight division title, and they're paying Allen. And they used to be the team that could go get the Von Millers. Well, those days are quickly fading, and your window just doesn't stay open super long in this league. And if they don't start capitalizing and get basically a Super Bowl win here one of these days, one of these years soon, they could kind of be, yeah, they were all right. You know what I mean? Like their legacy's at stake a little bit. And I'm sure they're feeling that. I mean, they have to. I mean, I know the coaching staff is. I'm sure Josh Allen is. But navigating the weather is going to be massive. I mean, I expect the wind gusts and the wind to really, really hamper throwing the football. If you remember that game a while back, Buffalo and the Patriots threw 3 passes all day. You know, Mac Jones completed 2 passes that day, and they won. They broke a long run. I think it was like 14-10 when it was all said and done. And I think we're going to be in that neighborhood. Buffalo threw like 15 or 16 passes that day. And Josh Allen is going to be aggressive. It's just who he is. Whether it helps or hurts him, who's to say? But I'm sure he'll come to the line of scrimmage and the Steelers will be stacking the run and he'll say, yeah, it's blustery, but I got the biggest arm in the league. I got one-on-one on the outside. Diggs or Porter, I'm taking that shot. Whether that's the right call or not, we shall see. If anyone can pull it off, it's him, but it might not be the smart move. I mean, that's just who he is, for better or worse, and I love him. But little things that I want you guys to think about, like obviously punting and kicking, but even like long snapping, you know, on a field goal. Certainly Mason Cole's snapping. I mean, the wind will move this football anytime it's in the air at all. I mean, little things like, I told you the other day, these are the 2 lowest teams in terms of play action percentage. Well, I bet that keeps up because any ball handling or play fakes or jet sweeps, let alone double reverses, pass back, you know, that kind of flea flickers, crazy things like that are much harder to pull off. You don't want multiple people touching the ball. You don't want funny business like that. You know what I mean? So keep an eye on that. Every aspect of this will be difficult. But I do think both these coaches, one of whom's hometown, or not hometown, but it's, you know, he's the head coach of the Bills and has been around, and Mike Tomlin, who is now the highest or longest tenured coach in the entire league will understand all the little things that this challenge presents. All right, let's talk about when the Steelers have the ball. A huge key to me is the Bills love to play in nickel. They, 5 defensive backs on the field, whether that's 3 safeties or 3 corners and 2 of the opposite, either way. But they want a front 4, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. Now, especially considering the conditions, and they will fight you, to do anything other than that. Now, I think you just keep adding heavier personnel. Bring an extra tight end in, bring a 3rd tight end in, bring a 6th offensive lineman in to see where their breaking point is, where they will put 4, not 5 defensive backs on the field. Is it your goal line package? I mean, okay, but you want to know, and I would teeter on that line as long as I possibly can. Basically, what I'm saying there is, how big can I get before you go to base? And then I probably want to be slightly less than that to keep my biggest package on the field while you're in dime. And have little people, and if you look at their leading tacklers, they're 190-pound defensive backs, they're 220-pound linebackers. I want those guys tackling Najee Harris and getting off Darnell Washington blocks. You know what I mean? So I think that's a huge key that the Steelers can exploit, is find... Again, maybe it's a lot more Allen Robinson than Deontay Johnson because he's the blocker. He's really just a tight end. Now, I don't think this will work out well, but on paper, weather aside, one of the Steelers' best advantages in this game is attacking deep. The Bills are good with the short to intermediate stuff, bad with the deep ball in terms of coverage. Can you get there? Probably not because of the weather. But one of my keys still is get Pickens involved, make him be a threat. 0 catches ain't going to cut it. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I wanted to put out there. Their defensive tackles cause problems. Daquan Jones is the power guy. He's more of the nose in their scheme. Ed Oliver is a 280-pound speedball up the middle, sack guy, explosive dude. He'll be the 3 technique, on the outside shoulder of the guard. So you have to at least give those guys problems because you're going to run up the middle. The interior pass rush that Oliver provides is, daunting. Is this stage too big for Rudolph? Now there's expectations on him. He's not playing with house money anymore. This could be his last game as a starter in a league. Could be his last game as a Steeler. Or is he a cool, composed dude like he's been? I don't know. I just want to see his body language, see how he acts out there. I also think if you get into 3rd and longs, their pass rushers are better than the Steelers are protecting wise. But like their entire defense, their pass rushers are more Ferraris than dump trucks. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of lighter, really good combine guys, but they're deep. And I don't know if this is their kind of game, to be very honest with you. Special teams note I want to mention just a quickie here before we go to the defense. Any real metric you look at on special teams, they're about equal. Both these teams are basically league average special teams. I would give the Bills the punter check mark. I would definitely give the Steelers the kicker check mark. But more, it's, again, just how do you navigate the weather is obviously the biggest thing here on the kicking game. With the NFL playoffs right around the corner and NBA seasons in full swing, BetOnline has you covered with all the up-to-the-second odds, news, and scores. With additional odds, lines, trends, and info on both desktop and mobile, you can access the world's best wagering information anytime. Head there today and get into the action and see all the updated odds. Remember to use our promo code, BLEAV, all caps, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. On the other side of the ball, Allen's a nightmare. I mean, he's going to make plays. I'm curious what his mindset is in terms of his aggression. I'm sure it's going to be aggressive. That's just who he is. I think it's just his DNA. He will take shots. He probably will check the passes, even though that's the aggressive thing to do. But he's also going to get hit a fair amount. He's been running the ball a ton. And he throws the ball to the other team a lot. I mean, he's unbelievably good at creating touchdowns, run or pass. But he also throws a lot of interceptions. He just does. So you absolutely have to turn him over. And I think more than once to be in this game. And you got to somewhat corral him. And best of luck. I mean, I was thinking, let's blitz this guy like crazy because your back seven's in a better situation than it was and you don't have Watt. Well, he's good versus the blitz. And I also think a huge key here for both sides is just tackling. And I want as many tacklers available as possible. I referenced that Patriot-Bills game, where they threw 3 passes. Well, they broke free because a bunch of people crowded near the line of scrimmage, hand the ball to the running back, 1 broken tackle, boom, you go to the house. So I'm more drop 8 than blitz, to be honest with you. I want a lot of bodies there to take away a big play, a slip and fall defense, that type of thing. Maybe even keep Allen in the pocket and make him navigate that way. Diggs versus Porter is a big deal, and I do think you'll see that as a true shadow. Diggs is awesome. He was awesome last week, but for about 6 weeks before that, he kind of disappeared. So the vibes I'm getting out of there with the new offensive coordinator is they didn't want to be as Diggs-centric in the passing game. They want to spread the ball around. Cook, Kincaid, Gabe Davis, who's not going to play in this game, Shakir. Still, Allen's guy is Diggs. We saw that last week. Is Porter up for that challenge? Along those lines, I also think you might see Minka on Kincaid alone quite a bit as well. Now that you have the extra safeties, I think the Steelers will play their share of big nickel with 3 safeties on the field. Rowe, KZ, and Fitzpatrick. And Fitzpatrick, as I wrote before, a couple months ago, he puts out fires. So if I have Porter on Diggs, Fitzpatrick on Kincaid, and kind of take my chances with the rest, not so terrible, As mentioned, they are better at linebacker and safety than they've been, and I think Roberts goes from 25 snaps or whatever it is back to being 75, 80%. So that's big. And I also think the rookies, the defensive rookies, Porter as mentioned, Herbig obviously, and Benton. I mean, those guys need to be ready for prime time, first ever playoff game, an environment they haven't seen before. And last thing I have on this side of the ball is the right side of that Bills line. And they do bring in an extra offensive lineman, like more than any team in the league. So keep an eye on that. But the right side of their O-line isn't very good in protection. So I would flirt with, and I think you might see some of Highsmith come from Watt's spot, especially on 3rd and 8s, things like that. I think Herbig, I don't know this for a fact, but I think Herbig is more comfortable coming off the defensive right side against left tackles. So whatever he prefers, maybe, and I think you'll see a 3-man rotation there, but you might want your best guy, Highsmith, up against their right side. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Lastly, there too, this team allows very, very few sacks. But the biggest reason isn't protection, it's Allen. I mean, he is the best quarterback in the league at turning pressures not into sacks. Like avoiding pressures, getting him on the ground, scrambling, all those things. He's hard to tackle. So, prediction time. I have the Steelers losing this game 20-13. Part of me thinks, wow, I'm not even sure anybody can get to 20. But, I mean, the weather, I'm doing this Friday morning. The weather might be so extreme that it might be the first one to 10. That field goals can't happen. 4th and 3, you're going for it. Things like that. But I think Buffalo, because of Allen, certainly is the better team in their building. No Watt. But I still give the Steelers a legit chance. I mean, if they can be the more physical team, run against lighter defenses, they should be in it in the end. And this team and Tomlin has a strong background of winning close, tight, yucky games. So there you have it. All right, guys, we'll talk soon.